everyone, back with another week of quarantine self-care. This week I know I said that I was gonna do the foot and the leg, however, not realizing that it was Easter weekend, I decided to go with a little bit of a lighter note. So today we're gonna do some homemade body scrubs. This can be used for males or females. And then I have a few different ones that we'll go through. And a lot of these ingredients you can find in your household already. So these are really good now that we're kind of getting out of the winter months, although the last few days have felt like February. And into the warmer months, kind of getting some of that dead skin off. Plus, we're washing our hands constantly now with the coronavirus going on. So, we're washing our hands more. We're using the hand sanitizer, which has alcohol, which tends to dry our hands out. And then, of course, just the weather in general will also do that. So if you suffer from really dry skin, or if you just want a little pick-me-up or pamper while you are at home, this is just a quick little neat thing that you could do for yourself. All right, so first I'll go over what we have here, and then we'll put everything together. Okay, some of the basic things that we're going to need are gloves. These are really just to help to contain the mess because you'll get a lot of sugar and salt in between your fingers. You don't have to use the gloves if you don't want to. You can also just keep paper towels on handy. And you can always wash your hands in between and they'll stay nice and soft. You'll also need some mixing dishes, both a big one to mix all the ingredients in, and then some smaller ones to hold the ingredients if you prefer to kind of measure everything out before you do it. Then you need a container to hold it in. Once your product is finished, you can always hold it back into the smaller container since you're not making a ton, but if you want to keep it a little bit longer and save it, I would suggest using a sealable container. And I don't know what happened there, but that's what happens when you mess with products. All right, what else do we have? We have some measuring scoops, obviously, for just measuring out your product. The smaller one is going to be used more for your wet ingredients like your oils and honey and things like that. Then everything else is sugar. There are essential oils that I am using in today's recipes. Some of these you can use without essential oils, and of course if you don't have these specific ones but you do have ones on hand at home, by all means use whatever you have. These are just kind of a general rule of thumb, and 3 out of the 4 of these I will be selling on my Etsy shop this spring, probably within the next couple of weeks since I have time to make some. So today we're gonna go through, I have a lavender and peppermint scrub, which can be used as a foot scrub as well as a full body scrub. You can use it on your face because it is pretty gentle, but just be careful because the peppermint oil can sting. Next we have the jasmine, Hawaiian sandalwood, and fresh cut rose body scrub. This is another one that I do make, so is the lavender and peppermint one. And then the third one that we will be making today, which is probably the easiest one to make using things that you already have at home. This is another one that I sell which is lavender. No, I'm sorry. This is the cappuccino, the vanilla cappuccino body scrub, because it's used with coffee, sugar, and you can use vanilla extract. I'm going to use the vanilla essential oil, but you can use vanilla extract, and it's so easy. The last one that we're going to do today is one that I have made before, but I do not currently sell. It is a sugar and green tea scrub with lavender essential oil and a little bit of honey. So yeah, we're gonna go through those 4 scrubs, and now we'll go through each one individually. Okay, so today we're gonna start with the vanilla cappuccino body scrub. This body scrub is not only one of my favorites because of how great it smells, it's also one of the easiest to make, and it's also one of the most versatile. Men and females both enjoy this scrub. So if you don't want to sit through all of the other ones I'm going to make, this is your go-to. It's going to give you a nice energetic boost because of the coffee in it. I am also going to add a little bit of coffee essential oil just because that's what I put in my own recipe. But obviously, if you don't have that, just using a little bit of coffee. I have one of the pods not used. Yeah, or any ground coffee that you have. I'm also using almond oil for this one. You can use any oil that you have on hand. That pretty much is the same for any one of these recipes or any body scrub that you make. You don't have to use exactly what I do. Some people I know have allergies, other people you may not have anything on hand. That being said, you can use olive oil, coconut oil, almond oil, jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, hemp oil, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, so the oil and then sugar, regular sugar. I have about 1/3 cup, and then you would do 1/4 cup of the coffee, and that will last you a good while, at least a few months, depending on how often you use it. And then lastly, like I said, if you're at home, you can use vanilla extract. You don't need a lot. And then I have the essential oil, so that's what I'll be using. So first, and like I said, I have my glove. You'll add the sugar. And I'm only using 1/3 cup because, again, I'm using some of the coffee, but also because it's only going in a container. This is a 4-ounce container. And if you want to make more, that's really up to you. If you want to make less for just like a 1 or 2 time use, that's also fine. But this way, at least you can pamper yourself for the rest of quarantine days. All right, so I'm not using this entire thing, but good half. I'm gonna make sure the coffee and the sugar are mixed together well. Now, next is the oil, and this goes again for pretty much any recipe for a scrub. I tend to like my body scrubs a little less on the wet side, because I feel like it won't go rancid as quick. I feel like it lasts a little bit longer, and you can always dampen it with water, and that will kind of get a little bit of the consistency. And sometimes just a dry scrub feels a little bit nicer at getting all that dead skin off and exfoliating a little bit better. Some recipes say to use half a cup. I tend to use only like a couple of tablespoons, if that. I tend to use maybe half oil to the amount of sugar that I'm using. And again, this isn't baking, so it doesn't have to be absolutely precise. If you're familiar with scrubs and you have a consistency that you like, go for that. The other reason I like to use less oil than more is because if you tend to over oil, then the container, the oil can like kind of seep out of it, and then you have a greasy container. And then it gets really difficult to deal with. I mean, it's manageable, but so my consistency is about like wet sand. And then I'm just going to add a couple of my coffee drops. Put about 10 or 11 drops in there. And then again, if you're using the vanilla extract, I would use about, I'd say about 1 teaspoon. Extract is very strong and very potent, so a little bit does go a long way. For a single batch, I'm going to do about half a dropper. Not even. Probably 1/4. If you're using a dropper with your extract, I'd say either 1/4 or 6 or 7 drops. No more than 10. Actually, that could be a little bit stronger, but again, the extract is a little bit stronger than the essential oil. That smells good. And there you have it. Just stick it in your container. And then you have a vanilla cappuccino body scrub. Another thing to note, it's best to do in circular motions. Circular motions, can't get the elbow. Knees are good, ankles, and the back of your feet, your heels, bottoms of your feet. obviously your hands. Just scrub it in. This one you can use on your face too. I'm not going to do it. Also circular motions. When you have the entire surface, just wash it off. You know, pat dry. If you want, you can add a little bit of lotion, moisturizer, body butter. And your hands will be nice and smooth, and all the dry skin and the dead skin cells should be gone. All right, that's the first one. Who's ready for the next? Okay, the next one we're gonna make is extremely easy as well, but let's be honest, all body scrubs are really easy to make unless you're making ones that also have a soap base to them. So, that being said, all you need for the lavender and peppermint one is sugar, which I colored with mica powder, coconut oil, and lavender and peppermint oil. Now you can also, instead of using peppermint oil or on top of peppermint oil, you can throw in some, oh, you can't see that, some rosemary as well. But considering I just do a lavender and peppermint scrub to sell, we're just gonna stick with those two. So again, I don't have my glove on. Really saves a lot of cleanup on your hands. Sugar, oil, wet sand consistency. And then for the essential oils, you can do about 30 drops total. And again, it can be a little bit more, it can be a little bit less. I like to do about half and half for each of them for this scrub. Be careful too, because some essential oils come out a lot quicker than other ones. The thicker essential oils, which are usually the ones that are harder to extract, they tend to come out really slow and have difficulty. But then ones like peppermint, they come out super fast. So you don't want to put too many drops in. So just be conscious about that. Alright, and there's your lavender peppermint scrub. This one also smells really, really great. It's very relaxing, but also can give you a pepper of energy because of the peppermint. So, again, circles. You can use this one on your face. Again, just be careful because the peppermint can be a little bit strong around the eyes. I would say this is a better one to use for the feet or the hands or even the back. And then just You could also use a drop or two of food coloring if you would like to get yours to be colored. You can also use specific herbs. Turmeric would be one specifically that you could use to color it naturally if you don't have the powder. And there you have it. That's your second scrub. Okay, next up in the scrub department, we have our jasmine, rose, and Hawaiian sandalwood scrub. This one is just a really nice pampering one. If you're gonna take a nice bath, it's a good one to kind of do just to treat yourself. This one I would say is probably more for the ladies, but you know, men might like this as well. So what I already did is I mixed Himalayan salt, the pink Himalayan salt, and some sugar together. And then I took a little bit of the mica powder and I colored it. So it's got that little bit of a pink tint, additionally to what the Himalayan salt already looks like. What I also have for this one is a few dried rose petals. Again, if you don't have these around the house, don't worry about it. I don't expect you to go get them during quarantine. It will smell just as good without, and this again is just how I make my recipe when I sell it. And the rose petals are more for kind of aesthetic. Then the coconut oil. Again, use how much or how little as you like. And then for these essential oils, I kind of do just a few of the rose because the rose petals already will. This is 1/4 teaspoon, so I'd say that's about a good amount. Now, Hawaiian sandalwood is one of those oils that is very thick and hard to come out. It's about half. Yeah, so I'd say about use 1/4 teaspoon as well. If you're having trouble getting it out, Hawaiian sandalwood is also a hard oil to come by. So you could use regular sandalwood, but it doesn't smell the same. That has a more beachy, you know, summer vibe to it. Apparently jasmine wants to be difficult as well. Now, because you already have the rose and jasmine is kind of just an additional like flower scent to kind of carry the rose, you don't want to use as much. So I only used like 1/8 of the teaspoon, I guess. Okay, so there's your rose, jasmine, and Hawaiian sandalwood scrub. It smells just like the Jersey Shore. It makes you want to, be able to go outside again and enjoy the summer. Hopefully we can soon. And yeah, so this is the last of the 3 that I make and sell. So the first 2 that I did, the coffee scrub and the lavender and peppermint, and the rose one, are all ones that will be available for the spring. So lastly, we will do the green tea. All right, lastly, we have our green tea, or really any type of tea that you have at home, scrub. So for this one, you need your sugar, or you can use salt as well. I just generally like sugar better as a base. And then I have a tea bag. Like I said, I'm using a green tea, honey, lemon, and ginseng blend, but you can use chamomile tea, sleepy time tea, whatever you have. So then I'm using jojoba oil. Again, just like every other recipe, you can use whichever oil that you have on hand or that you prefer. And then we're gonna use a little bit of honey and a couple drops of lavender. All right, so just like everything else, start with your base of sugar. And then you're gonna take your tea bag and open it and just dump, I'd say 1/2 to 2/3 in there. Mix that up. If you want, you can put the entire thing in. I just prefer not to. Okay, then we're gonna add just 1/4 of honey, 1/4 teaspoon of honey. It's gonna make it a little thick and hard to mix through. This is when gloves really come in handy. You can pick it up and kind of roll it around in your hand to try to get all that honey in there. Because this is a new recipe I'm trying, I think we actually might need a little bit more honey. Do a dropper of jojoba. Two.
Boy, I must really have been out of work for a while because my arm is getting tired from all this mixing.
Let's go ahead and put a little bit more in there. Like I said, I like mine a little bit drier, but not completely unmoist. lavender. I'd say maybe about 10 drops. Lavender comes out so easily as well, you don't even need to shake it. That smells pretty good too. Yep. And then again, you want to make sure that if you are doing it with a little bit more on the drier side, that your skin at least is nice and wet. Doing it this way isn't necessarily the best. It's not harmful, but you know, you might have better results if your skin is already a little bit wet. And again, I prefer to do my scrubs a little bit on the drier side, more for like storage purposes than application purposes. So it's really up to what you prefer. Yeah. You know, if you get a little bit of redness on your skin, especially if you're pale like myself, that's okay. That just means you're kind of moving circulation. And that's another benefit of body scrubs. You could do them on your chest too and your shoulders. Also doing circles and out. Up here you would do it out. Out. This is one that you could probably use on your face as well as the rose one. But yeah, so there is your green tea scrub. And alright, so when TLC was talking about they didn't want any scrubs, they definitely were not talking about these four. And there you have it. Very easy to make out of things you have around the house. You know, improvise with what you have. But again, we have our vanilla cappuccino, our lavender peppermint, and our rose, jasmine, and Hawaiian sandalwood. These will all be available on my Etsy by the end of the month. And then we also have the tea and sugar scrub with a little bit of honey and lavender essential oil. This one can be made very easily at home, even without the lavender essential oil. Just put everything else in. All right, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I apologize for not getting the foot self-massage video up this week, but I promise that will be next week's video. So keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, pamper yourself a little bit. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks. Bye.